Well, hi guys. This is a video with a bit of a difference because I want to tell you about a dream that I had a long time ago. But it was a premonition dream, a clear premonition dream. And because it had locations in it, I can actually show you the locations. And it's a dream that's never left me. I see the dream as clearly today as if it happened yesterday, and I told a lot of people about it afterwards, and so it was sort of like acknowledged that I'd had a premonition dream by quite a few people. It was confirmation for me. So the time I was having the dream, I lived here in Weymouth, and I was brought up on Portland. I was raised on Portland, and then when I was 17 we moved to Weymouth, and the commute was just unbelievable because I used to go to the top of the island and my mates lived here and we lived somewhere like here, and I was just so I ended up frequenting here, the pub areas, and living up here. Let's get my bearings. God, it's just weird looking at it, you know. Right, so I lived here. This is Google Maps, not Google Earth, because Google Earth has decided it doesn't want to open on here. So I lived here at the time in this sort of end unit, ground floor flat, with my daughter. And I was in my early 20s, and my friend was pregnant, and every day I'd come out of here, walk down here, pick up her two little girls, and walk them to school, back up here, and to the school, which is up here. So I had this dream that in this dream, right, let's get my bearings again. In my dream I was walking up this road, which leads to where I used to live on Portland. Now, I've done quite a bit of research about this area since, and I mean the place is called the Grove, and the place we used to live, which no longer exists because they demolished it, was right on the edge of the cliff here, and there was a row of houses here called the Residence, and we lived on the really right on the corner one here, and they were the most extraordinary houses. And why the bloody hell they knocked them all down, I don't know, because they've built bugger all there. And in fact, when Google Earth comes back up, I'm going to have a little mooch around here, because same here, and there's some interesting land features all around here, and they're just not building here. And this bit here, this was here when we were kids, but the fencing wasn't up, and we used to get up into here, but they've left it wooded. But anyway, that's for another video. I'm actually sort of walking up this road, and I worked out pretty much where I was, and it was here, because there's a wall next to me in the dream, and look what's here. Now these walls, these dry stone walls on Portland, are everywhere. I think there must have been an accident here or something and they filled it in. But these things are everywhere on Portland, and this looks like an old arch. Look at it. Look at the date on it. I don't think I can go in much and on. Oh yeah, a little bit. But arches in dreams are often portals. And there's even steps. But in the dream, I was just a little bit up here where the wall's high. Let's go out. So clear. And I was with these 3 little girls, my daughter and my friend's 2 little girls. And I became aware of a noise in the distance, and round this corner here, this horse is running down the middle of the road. And it gets to about here, and it jumps onto the pavement. Whoops, hang on, shit, it's alright. Yeah, so we're about here. So it comes thundering down the road and it jumps onto the pavement. And I fling the little girls against the wall, and we're all flat against this wall. And he comes thundering past, gets back onto the road, and as he goes past I see that he's got a gash all over his shoulders. He's got a bridle on, his eyes are rolling, there's all sparks coming up, and I hear him thundering past, and he's sliding down the road. And in my dream, I run down the road after him and pull him up to a stop about here, because I could see the end of the road. I don't do that. A spoiler. Anyway, I tell loads of people about this dream. I tell everybody about this dream. Especially the little girl's mum. I said, oh God, I had this dream and I was walking up this road and this horse came down and blah, blah, blah. And the guy I was with, I didn't have a phone back then. This was about 1977, 78. My daughter was in her first year at school. She was only 5 or 6 and she was born in 73. So yeah, 78. So back to Amos. And I picked the kids up from school. It's about 2 weeks later. It must have been about 2, because I I was aware that it was an unusual dream. You know, I was aware that there was something about it, because it was just so vivid. So hang on, where am I? Let's get. So we're going up here. Let's go down. Now it's all changed here now. They've taken the wall away. I was just a bit up from this bit, because there was a little bit of a gap here and there was a tree, and I thought that would, because I was aware again, because we were standing about, hang on, there is a tree here, see, so we were standing about here, and this tree was younger then, because this was a long time ago. And this road, in fact you can see a little bit here, is renowned for trees growing into the road. So this tree, which was closer to the road at that time, was obscuring my view. But I was about here, and there was a natural, in fact I've looked at this, there was a natural little gap in the wall here that just went in like that a little bit. But we were here, and I heard it coming down the road, and I immediately put the kids against the wall straight away, and the woman behind me looked at me, and at that it came really properly came into view, and all I thought was, at least it's not on the pavement. And with that, it came on the pavement, ran past us. The woman had stepped back into the little thing, zipped past the woman. She would have knocked them fucking flying. This horse would have knocked them, because it sort of came past us, went like that, went back onto the road. And no, I didn't run after it. Clattered down the road. It's about the same distance as it was when I pulled it in. Whoops. Fuck me. And went off down here, this really steep road. And I could hear it. I could hear it sliding down this, round this corner as it came down here. And all I could do was turn around to this woman with her kids behind me and say, I fucking dreamt it. I fucking dreamt it. I dreamt it. I dreamt it. So I looked for an arch, a corresponding arch, or a doorway or something. God, I'm right up White Road now. Where am I? I've got lost. Which direction that's going up? For a corresponding arch. And this place opposite, where the horse ran past. God, bloody thing. Just nice and slowly. It's weird doing this, because I knew lots of people that lived in these houses back then, you know. So this building opposite here is now it's like social housing. These are all flats, but you can see that they were like that originally. It's below ground. It was a workhouse, then it was a maternity hospital, now it's social housing. But there is an arched doorway here, a stone doorway, but it wasn't this far up, because there was definitely, it might have been this far up, because this wall has been reduced down. But there was a tree, there was definitely a lot of foliage, which is why I didn't see it until it sort of appeared. I think it's more likely to have been a bit further down, around about here. But the thing is, my daughter was born in one of these one of these rooms in 1985, so 7 or 8 years later. So strange. But I thought it was interesting that we could that I could show you, because this happened for real. So how can you have a premonition dream like that? How does that even work? But maybe I died that day. Maybe I got hit by that horse that day. Or maybe I survived and those little girls didn't. Because if I hadn't have flung them across the wall, if I'd just stood there and shot, it would have had me. It would have had us. It had the gash on its shoulder. It had the rolling eyes. It was it as it went past. It was like the dream horse ran past me at that point. And I just swung around to this woman screeching, I dreamt it. And then I saw him go down, and I was really worried about him. And then a couple of days later, in the local Echo, it's probably still in the archive somewhere online, if I went back and looked, if I had spare 6 months to look, it said that a horse had escaped, and it had escaped from, right, where are we? God, I'm so confused. Where are we again? So here's the old school. So it happened about here. Oh, here. Hang on, I'm on the wrong bloody road. Buxton Road. Oh, God, forgive me. If I go north again, I can get my bearings. Yeah. Right, so happened here. Yeah? So the horse had got out at a place called Lane House Rocks. So it'd run all the way down here. All the way up from here. And then Lane House Rocks Road and come from one of these fields here. So it escaped from here and it had jumped a fence, a barbed wire fence, and cut all its shoulder open. But he was rescued and taken back and he was okay. It can only be that maybe it was a premonition to let me know what was going to happen, because as soon as I heard it, I sort of instinctively threw them against the wall, because I'd already dreamt it and knew what was coming. And as it came into view, I thought, well, at least it's not on the pavement. And it literally twisted and came onto the pavement, and there it was. Jeez. And it happened so fast, in the dream and in reality. Which, in this case, seems to be both things. Anyway, let's show you a little bit of this stuff behind the prison. And I can't find any photographs at all online to show where we lived. These demolished houses, and it was haunted, and they were ancient, they were really old, they had shutters on the inside. So when we first moved to Portland, as my dad worked in here, we lived in these houses that were here on the edge of the cliff, and they were the houses for the officers, and there were rows of Portland stone houses, and they were old, and they were ancient, and they were damp, and they were freezing cold, and they had little like backyards. And then there were the cliffs over there, and we'd go down the cliffs to play and onto these beaches down here. And behind here there's all this sort of the Verne. So this is where I used to sort of hang out a lot. There's all these old quarries, and it's just a crazy place. Crazy place. But I did have, well, I have on one of my other broken laptops, a map, an old map of Portland, showing all these standing stones all over the place, and some of them they've put into the walls, like round the corner from this bit. And I think this bit was quite special. I think I read somewhere in a couple of cases that they'd actually like taken stone circles away. So this place is called Grove Corner, and I think this area here had a stone circle in it, and this is where I came out in the dream, where the dream starts. It's interesting that they sort of don't touch certain areas. But all this down here, it's just a crazy place. And we used to walk up this road, and then I realised the other day that this is the road we used to walk up, where I had the dream down the bottom here, to get home. To do a lot of bloody walking when we were kids. We used to walk down here, it took ages to get home, or cut across here. This here, it's a sheer drop. See if I can get 3D going. Look, down here. Doesn't move around like Google Earth, I don't think. Yeah, and they say that the inmates dug this out, but I don't think so. This is all prison property, all of this. Quite interesting to have a look and see what's actually going on around here. Prison property, MOD land, it's another term for keep out. Stuff here we don't want you nosing around in. So there you go, my dream. And I hope you were a little bit intrigued by the story. Thanks for watching.